So, good morning, Trekkies, and we're back with a closer look at the USS Honshu, the Nebula class starship from uh, Eagle Moss's Star Trek Starship collection. Okay, the official one. All right. So, as you can see, it is basically a sister ship of the uh, Enterprise D, the Galaxy class ships. Right. It's a smaller version, perhaps, because it doesn't have the elongated nacelles. The nacelles are much smaller over here. Yeah, and it's tucked in underneath the main saucer, or rather the saucer section, the main hull. Right. You have this. Excuse me. This larger, rather large. Sorry, what am I saying? There's a rather large triangular shaped pod over here, if you can call it, which, from what I've read, it can be either a sensor for, this particular ship does have many different, purposes. Like it can be for a scientific research vessel. So in that case, it would be mostly for sensory sweeps and all that stuff. It's also a torpedo launcher, so it depends on what kind of a ship it is. So it can be a wartime vessel as well. This is another look from this side. So, I'm trying to get a little bit of information about the Nebula class ship. It was in service from during the second half of the 21st century. It's capable of warp 9.5. It's got phaser banks, photon torpedo launchers, and of course deflector shields. So I think construction dates from earliest 2363 and to latest 2367. Vessels include the USS Phoenix and the USS Sutherland, which were both constructed at the Eridani Starfleet construction yards and later at San Francisco Fleet yards. That's orbiting Earth. So mainly you see this in Star Trek: The Next Generation. You also see them in Deep Space Nine. What else? So it has got scientific and exploratory roles and controlling patrol and transport duties. That's the the reason why this particular thing changes. So if it's patrol, it's mostly weapons. If it's exploratory, it's mostly scientific exploratory, a device kind of thing. So so it was also there during Deep Space Nine Emissary mainly, and in First Contact. It was also during the Dominion War. Several Nebula class starships were there. The USS Farragut was also one of the ships that was sent to transport the crew of the USS Enterprise D after they crash landed on the planet in Star Trek Generations movie. Right. I'm trying to find something about the USS Honshu, which is the one that's mentioned over here. Let me take a look. Meanwhile, let's have a look at this side of the ship. So I'm just giving a search for USS Honshu. So I don't remember too much about the USS Honshu, except do like this particular design, but don't remember much else about it. Okay. All right. So the Honshu was responsible for transporting the former Cardassian leader Gul Dukat, to stand trial for war crimes at Starbase 621, and Benjamin Sisko was also on board at that time. So yeah, so from Deep Space Nine. This is that particular starship that has been chosen to represent this particular class over here. So I'm just going to take it off the stand. One problem I did find with this particular model is that the stand, this part especially, isn't very stable, so it keeps falling off, slight movements. But once it's there on my bookshelf, it should be perfectly fine. So this part is die-cast metal. This is plastic. The lower hull, I think, is die-cast. Yeah, it seems pretty solid. The nacelles are plastic, so it's mostly die-cast with plastics here and there. So, okay, let me try and give you a little bit more of a close-up. So it's pretty much similar. I'll do another video comparing this to the Enterprise D and what are the differences between those. So this is pretty much similar, except for the lower hull is It's got a slightly elongated neck, and the nacelles are also larger and not tucked over here the way it is on the Nebula class. But I do like the ship quite a lot. So that's it, guys. Okay, one more word of caution if you're choosing to buy it. I think this particular section over here, the nacelles might be a little flimsy, so be careful about the way that you are placing it. Okay, so that's it, guys. That's it about the Nebula class. I pretty much like the design a lot, so take care. I think it's a good ship to have in your collection. All right, so take care, guys. Have a great day ahead of you. Thank you. Bye.